Conas Shiv lads DBG on show. Agus in you. Be make fake and share. Fisha and all that jazz. Tier list the 50 most memorable cards in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. Cain fá time a kaintja scalga. Neil Isagum. Time on a Tersha. Alright, that's it's a bit of a strange intro. What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be doing a video here. We're going to be reacting to the 50 most memorable cards in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. Apologies for if there's kind of a lack of energy right here. I have just got the old second 5G shot, so I'm going to be I'm feeling a lot better than I expected to. The fact is that I haven't conked out yet, and I'm able to make this video. I have just about enough energy to make this video. And you know what? I don't want this day to be watching Leeds lose 5-1, then watching Dublin lose for the first time since I was 16, followed by my least viewed day of 2021. I can't do that. So we gotta get this video and we gotta get another video out. That cannot be how I spent my 14th of August. So, huge shout out to Jazz for making this video. I haven't seen any of it. And obviously go subscribe to him. Let's try to get him to like 1.2k. Maybe we can get him to 1.2 thousand subscribers. Let's have a listen. That intro.
Here we go.
Intro music's
guys.
quality.
So everyone is doing kind of look back footage on the year. I'm going to do the same. We're going to do a tier list of the most memorable cards. So all of these cards are memorable. We've got 50 of them to rank. You can see the ranks on the tier list. We've got game defining. It's like we look back in 10.
So game defining, legendary, very memorable, and memorable. Okay, I wish there was I never used this card tier. I have to move my face, even though my face, I'm looking away. I'm going to have to move my face here because I don't want to block any of the tier list. And also, just there we go. That's a little bit better, I think. So let's get into it.
10 years we'll still remember the card. All the way through to memorable, still memorable, but maybe we'll forget it over time. That's the way I look at it. I can only put 10 cards in each tier, and I'm going to do this rapid fire, right? I'm going to do this really quickly. So I might have to move things around at the end, but we're going to try and get through this as quickly as possible. I've tried to think of as like many metrics as
Smush and just memorable. Smush is just memorable.
How hyped was the card? How much did we use it? But there's also cards on here that are memorable for all the wrong reasons as well. You'll see as we go. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, whether you agree with my opinion or not. Like the video and leave a comment as we go. And yeah, drop a sub, guys. We're like really close to 1,100 subs. I'd love to hit that before the end of the year. I think we're less than 20 away from it. So, you know, very small
that helps a lot with the eyes. That helps a lot with the whole look at the screen.
Anyway, that's enough self-promo. Let's get onto it. First card is Amethyst Smush
Memorable.
Parker. You know, you had the Trey Burke-based Pro 2.
Definitely not very.
He was a card that was being used amongst the meta of diamonds and pink diamonds. And he
yeah, but he wasn't memorable though, was he? He was good.
He could compete. He really could. I'm going to put him in very memorable for now. If anything, he might move up. But I'm going to leave him there for now.
Yeah, he might go up. He might go up.
Amethyst, Alan.
Legendary. Not quite game defining because he was only legendary for like a week, but legendary.
Houston is next. I'm going to put him in extremely memorable just because of how OP he was. He was the first real kind of elite shooting card in the game outside of...
He was the reason I was the best player in the world for the first week. He was the defining player of week 1 DBG.
Paul Pierce, who was the unlimited reward. But he started to define the meta. He was the first card that really defined the meta.
He defined week 1 DBG.
Next up, we've got Diamond AK. I never ran this card, but I ran into...
Not memorable because he's a retro card and he was way better the first time around.
A lot. Again, he was a card that punched above his weight. 3 to 4 months people had this diamond in their lineup. I'm going to put him in memorable.
Yeah,
he might have been
he's a retro
by the later AKs, but people forget how OP he was for the time.
He was good.
Next up, we've got Bailey Howell, the Amethyst. Again, another early...
I'd put him in either extremely memorable or legendary just because he was this random white dude in the back of the backpacks, and 2K made him DeMar DeRozan. So I think just for that reason, like, he should be either in legendary or extremely memorable. You can't have him lower than either. That was serious.
Card in the game. I used to do like budget lists, top 10 budget cards. Bailey Howell was top of that list for 2 or 3 weeks at one point.
He was
God. He's very memorable, potentially higher.
I would have put him in.
Very memorable for
I would have had.
I also love the Dark Matter.
I would have had. For me, Houston was in game defining. I will never forget that card. But fair enough, if you want to move him to legendary. I'd have Houston legendary, Bailey Howell 1 ahead, then I'd probably flip Parker and AK, to be honest.
Bailey, just for what it's worth. Next up, we've got
game defining. He was game definingly disappointing.
Baron Davis. Now, this is the first interesting one because he has to be in one of the top
He was
two
game
tiers.
definingly disappointing.
Being, he did define the game in a certain way. He defined the game in a way that 2K
So
built
average.
something up that sounded really
So
good and let us
average.
down at the last moment, which is something they did time and time again. Shout out to Glitch Reality. Baron Davis was the first card that did that. He is memorable. We all did nothing.
He's
else for 10
game
weeks.
defining.
I'm going to put him in Legendary, but there is a real argument for him to be game defining, and I might move him
he
up.
is.
Next up, we've got Dark Matter, Warped Reality, Ben Simmons. He is game defining. He was the
In a year's time, I will remember. He is game defining, but in a year's time, I may have forgot about that Ben Simmons. I will not forget about Baron Davis.
first elite OP point guard that was oversized with an elite jump shot that could do
I agree.
everything.
I agree.
He defined the meta as it is right now.
I agree.
Ben Simmons has to be considered game defining. I was reluctant to put him in here because
And I just do want to apologize in advance. I am, if at any stage I'm closing my eyes for a few seconds, it's nothing to do with what's going on the screen. It's the fact that sitting so close to bright screens is really not doing good for my eyes. I thought I was fine. I'm really not. And I still have to watch the Hornets game to make a LaMelo video and then make one more video after this. So today's going to be a rough day, lads. It's going to be a rough day. But as I always say, videos do not make themselves.
you'll see this as a trend. There are some cards that you might expect in game defining that I'm not going to put in there because I think the similar card was game defining last year, therefore less so this year, right? This is not massively different to the prime Ben Simmons. The reason I've left him in here is because his jump shot is just so elite. He was so much better than the prime one from last year. Next up, we've got Bill Russell. This is a weird one because the community was really hyped at the time, but it
Legendary.
dropped off very quickly, the hype. I feel
Legendary.
like when Moses Malone came out, the limited reward,
Legendary.
this card kind of lost its shine and people started talking about stopped talking about
Definitely
it
legendary.
instantly.
He was chicken man. He was so
I'm gonna
good.
put him in extremely memorable, but
If you're on
could
next
move
gen,
up.
if you're on
There was
next
a bit
gen,
of
he's
hype
like
when he came
legendary,
out.
high legendary,
Let's see, Blake Griffin.
legendary.
This was a real reality check for a lot of people, which led to another card being way hyped, which was
Game defining, actually. You know what? I'm going to say game defining for Blake. Blake, last year, the very first center that we got with pro dribble sigs was Dino Raja and Eddie Curry. And they came out on July the 27th. This year, we got pro dribble sig centers in November with this card. So yeah, he was game defining.
was the following level 40 reward. I think people kind of slept on Steph Curry, and I think people realized, oh, you know, I should have gone and got Steph if I didn't. And then people were like, oh, but it's
Steph's
Blake this
game
season. I'm
defining
not
as well.
really fussed about that. People didn't realize how OP this Blake was, guys. He's in one of the top two. I'm going to put him in legendary for
I'd
now.
have him top.
Absolutely, he could be game defining. Absolutely. First elite stretch 5 in the game. Blake was unstoppable, guys. He's a regret of mine that I didn't go and get him. Pink Diamond Bol,
Obviously game defining.
I don't understand how
Obviously.
he was 95 overall. He was the best card in the game running with Dark Matters as a 95 overall. It
He's
made
still
no
one of the
sense.
best cards in the game on next
That's
gen.
where he goes.
He's still one of the
Now
best
we've
on
got
next gen.
the Invincible Bol. This is similar to the Ben, right? The token market Bol last year was very
Extremely
similar to this card.
memorable.
I think the next gen meta
memorable.
just puts him over the top. I think that's what separates him from last year because he's so OP on next
I'm fine
gen.
with that.
He's OP on current gen as well, but he is so OP on next gen that he has to go into game defining. 2 Bols in the top 10.
I think we'll remember.
Next up, we've got Amethyst Boris Diaw. He was another card
lowest.
that was,
Only
top
I liked
5
him, but not many
list
people
for
did.
6-8 weeks. Very similar to kind of the Bailey Howe. I'm going to put them side by side. I think they were my 3 and 4 at one point. Next up, we've got Dark Matter Cade. Now, to me, guys,
Bottom of the bottom. The dude came out on the 30th of June. 30 days past September, April, June. Okay, so there's only 30 days in June. He came out on the 29th of June. He literally came out on the 29th of June. You can't put this guy. You will not remember this guy coming into next year. Just like we don't remember the trying to think of cards we don't remember that came out late last year. Like no one really remembers like half the NBA's back set from last year.
this is going to be an unpopular opinion. This is the best card in the game. On current gen,
I mean,
it's the
you can
best
make
card
that
in the game.
argument.
He's 6'8". He's a Curry slided base.
Can't put him higher
98,
in there. Can't
big
put him
god
higher in there.
demon. He is incredible. And, similar to the kind of LaMelo Ball from last year, I think. That's kind of how I see Cade.
Yeah, but LaMelo Ball came out on like the 6th of June. He came out on like the 28th of June. Came out a month earlier. There was still A month of content when the LaMelo Ball came out, not a week.
I don't know where to put him. I'm going to put him in extremely memorable.
Yeah, right
Maybe
here,
it's a
correct
bit of
here.
bias, but this is the most fun card I've used all year.
That's correct there.
You could potentially move him down. Let's see how he goes. Next up, we've got Pink Diamond Cam. We all remember this.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him in legendary.
Because of the cam glitch.
The draft
Only
glitch.
because of the glitch.
It was a great time for everyone. The fact that everyone pretty much got this card for so cheap was just such a huge W and such a huge talking moment as the year went on. Emerald took on Cook again, just a limited demon.
For limited, he's
gold. He was an Emerald.
in Emerald.
Let's be honest, guys,
He's
was a Ruby at worst.
middle tier. Middle tier.
We're gonna put him in. Let's put him in very.
Yeah, I don't
memorable.
disagree.
Think that's where
Don't
he
disagree.
belongs.
You're right.
Next up, we've got another game-defining card in Danny Ferry. Again, broke the game, broke all of us. 2000
Mick agrees.
game.
Mick agrees.
Again, another base 98 demon. The first truly elite shot in the game. It has to be Danny Ferry. Yeah, it has to be game-defining.
I agree, Jazz.
D-Rob now again, guys. This might surprise you. I'm absolutely.
Hold on. 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 Just need to clean the old glasses. Even though they're blue light glasses and they don't actually affect what I can see. Game defining?
Putting D-Rob in game defining. He was the first elite point center in the game, and I always say this: the end game truly comes when we get that point center that can do absolutely everything.
This guy could do absolutely everything. Blake.
Everything, guys. This year, that was D-Rob. It was.
Freaking Draymond was a point center.
He was game defining. Everything we've had since has been a slight step up on where he was. D-Rob broke the game for sure. Next up, we've got Galaxy Opal D-Wade.
Extremely memorable.
Now, this was a really important card. Absolutely an argument for game defining. Because he was the first card.
No. Come on. Come on.
Card that really got everyone hooked on XP. He really was.
More people got Wade than got Steph?
People slept on Steph, and by the time they realized it was too late. People didn't want Blake, so they didn't really do it. D-Wade got the entire community doing level 40 for the rest of the year. He was that guy that started that.
3 level 40s, and I regret one of them.
Probably. It probably is. I'm going to put him in legendary for now.
I'm okay with that. I'd have one down.
Being game defining. Next up, we've got Felipe Lopez. I put him on this list because a lot of people liked the
memorable,
card.
yeah.
That's
card. Fine. We're not going to remember this card.
I didn't, guys, but I ran into him every other game for about 3 months. Obviously, a very popular card.
Limited demon.
For me, but will be memorable for
limited demon.
Next up, we've got Ruby Gus Williams. We remember how.
Very memorable.
How OP was this card? That speed at that time.
He's the only person. He ran. He used to glitch the AI. He was so fast. Flash was
between extremely memorable and very memorable. I'm gonna
go
extremely memorable. He was such an exciting.
There's a reason why I nicknamed him Flash. There's a reason why I nicknamed him Flash. He was the fastest. He had 195 speed. He was the fastest player we'd ever seen.
Exciting card when he came out, guys. Jack Marin. Now, this is a tough one for me. Because this is maybe an unpopular opinion. I don't know. The fact that him and Terry came out at the same time, and Terry was the slightly better card, kind of overshadowed this Jack Marin. If Terry didn't come out, he would have been here, guys.
I actually believe the opposite. I think because Jack Marin and Terry came out at the same time, one of them was a dentist and one of them was a lawyer, and that we were all playing either triple threat offline for the dentist or triple threat online for the lawyer. The whole question was who are you going for, the lawyer or the dentist? I think they're a combo deal. I think he's probably in legendary or extremely memorable, but I think if Terry wasn't there, he'd probably just be another Wayne Embry down in down near the bottom.
Really where he would have been, but Terry took some of the shine off Jack Marin.
I think Terry brought his shine up.
Memorable, I think that's where he ended up, but he was really a victim of the fact that Terry was out at the same time. Next up, we've got another limited god, and again, people were running this guy in their
very
main
memorable.
This guy came out in a possessed set that had Pink Diamond T-Mac in it, and people were running him.
He was the most used player in the whole possessed set.
Very memorable. I think he belongs probably next to that. Daquan
He was the best. He was the best.
For sure, a memorable card. The next one is a tough one.
I shouldn't use face cam for this video.
If you're a comp player, you're screaming at me to put him up here.
Legendary.
But the truth is, most of us aren't. A lot of people didn't get this card. And, shout out to Splash for making this card as legendary.
Unfortunately, 95% of us did not have the 1.5 million MT needed to get the January Messiah that was John Havlicek. But at the same time, Hondo was Hondo. He was the January Messiah. He was the best damn card in the game. But, I may not have energy to say this. For the 90% of us, including myself, the budget guys, we never saw Hondo. And I think I only played against Hondo maybe twice. Not a common card. So, because of what he did in the comp scene, you can't put him any lower in the middle, but I think that's probably right.
As it was. But in the grand scheme of things, guys, I think this is where
I'm fine with that.
I don't think enough people had the card for him to be extremely
Great point.
memorable.
I agree with your logic.
10,000 people watched the 250k, 15 million people download this game.
Hey, there's a lot more than 10,000. Well, I had 10,000. 2K apparently had... I had like 13,000. 2K apparently had 15,000. And let's just say 10,000 of their viewers are view bots. So, there was about 20k watching that live. I get his point, but there was a lot more than 10k.
To those 10,000 people, you know how good this card was. John Stockton, the diamond.
Basketball,
he was the only
John.
alternative really for Steph.
I got a
He was an
basketball,
absolute beast by the time
John.
he came out, I think
I got a
Legendary or
basketball,
extremely
John.
memorable.
John
I'm gonna
Stockton.
put him in
Ooh.
extremely memorable for now, but he's
Legendary.
move up.
Move basketball, John,
Again, just
up.
everyone was running.
Move
when you had Steph or
basketball,
not, you
John,
could
up,
either start
Jazz.
point guard or off the bench. Everyone was running Stockton.
I'm so out of it, I might as well be drunk right now.
But he was amazing.
Oh
Next up, we've got Ruby Jonathan Isaac.
Down.
Again,
Bottom.
Limited beast,
Bottom.
the guy that you
He
just
was.
swap
Get
the
him
opponent's ball
down.
handler onto and,
Get him down.
He plays the defense and gives you a chance of winning the game.
This guy was his most memorable card ever was either this card or his Holy Trinity card in 2K19, and this card does not belong anywhere near. He does not belong. He will never be remembered in this year because of how good his rubies were in 2K19 and 2K18. Again, 2K18, this card was God. Then he was part of the Holy Trinity in 2K19. So, no one will ever remember this card in a year time. Get him down to the bottom tier.
I'm going to put him in
Get him
very
down.
memorable for now. I think that's where
Lopez was better. Get him down.
Kawhi is a tough one, guys.
Legendary.
He was probably like the card that was used the most. He had the most longevity, I think, of any card in this game. I know people say Danny Ferry, but it was Kawhi. I just don't know how much people are looking back on that card. I think people have forgotten how
He was a
OP
cone.
he was for the
Don't
time.
put a cone
And I
in
think
game
'cause
defining.
He was just good at everything. And
Don't put a
wasn't,
cone in
elite
game
at
defining.
anything. You could argue his defense. I think he's kind of dropped off people's memories.
agree.
I know Ty is fighting quite
One of
hard
those
to keep his
two
guys' memory
spots.
alive.
I
think he
agree,
goes into
Jazz. I agree.
legendary.
I
think that's
agree.
where he goes. Next up, we've got Kermit. Again, another TT
Down.
offline reward that people fought for. I'm going to put him in memorable. I
Down.
think the card was overhyped, to be honest.
Deserves to be in
with
the
you.
50,
I
but
think we
down.
just got used to TT offline rewards being amazing, and I think people overstated how good this Kermit was. Next up, we've got Ruby KPJ.
One
He
of
has
the
to
best
go to
Ruby in the
extremely
game.
Memorable.
Yeah.
Him and one other Ruby are probably guaranteed to be in most people's limited
Make
lineups
approves.
every single
Make
week
approves.
for this whole year. I would argue there isn't a card I've used more than KPJ, maybe one or two. But just in limited alone, he defines the whole game mode, that card. Next up, we got Pink Diamond Lonzo. Again, a bit of a 250k
Down.
reference here, but again, he was just such an affordable
I agree.
point guard that was OP. He had good
Most
size
retro
for the time.
cards
He
won't
had
be
a
remembered
decent shot
for the retro
once they
card. They'll be
updated his
remembered
jump
for what they
shot.
were in the original game.
And again, a card that is memorable. I don't know how close he is to anywhere near game defining. I think that's where he belongs. He was memorable. Pink Eye Galaxy Opal Luca.
Top.
Oh, it's a tough one. I think we go
Game defining because of the card
I
art.
think he was the first point
Because of the
guard
card art.
with Pro 2, with an elite jump shot, with all the key
Card art
badges.
means more than
Pink
all of
Eye Luca
that.
has to
Get
be
him into
here.
game defining.
He also, he really was the first card that people really started to badge up. So I think he defined that part of the game as well.
Card art.
And the fact that 2K gave him away for free, again, everyone used it. So I think he has to go
Card
to game defining.
art's the main reason.
Invincible Luca is on this list because he was
Get
the
him
best
down.
ever 40 reward outside of probably Steph. I think
Very
he has to be
memorable.
on this list.
Get him
Again,
down.
A card that people got.
I
know
have
people
him.
that didn't
Get
do
him
XP
down.
all year that did XP when this Luca came out.
Down.
So he was definitely important. I want to say extremely memorable. I might
I'm
have
okay
to
with
start
that.
moving
I'm okay
some
with
of these down. Let's see how we go on. Pink Diamond Malik Sealy. Another card that punched above his weight. He's in one of the bottom two tiers, I think. I think people don't really remember him in the way that they should.
Yeah, you're right.
He was very overpowered for the time he came out. Like, Jonathan
Budget
Isaac
Kawhi.
had longevity because he was used in limited throughout the year. Malik kind of fell off a little bit, very similar to this Lonzo, but still a very memorable card. Remember, guys, all of these cards are memorable.
I agree.
Next up, we got Amethyst Matt Bonner.
I
Guys,
loved
if
him.
This is
Just
purely my
move
list.
him
If it's
down.
pure bias, I'd put him up here. This
He'd
guy's
be in,
literally
like,
got me on 12 and runs on his own.
extremely memorable.
I think this card is amazing. He had the
I never
three
played
key hop
against him.
badges. As a
The most memorable thing about this card is the fact that his picture is Kevin Love, and it has not been changed for the whole year.
An amethyst, he could compete with some of the best centers in the game. He came out at the same time as that Ben Simmons as well. I mean, he really was elite when he came out. I think he's been used a lot, again, in Limited. I think people have used him for 12-0 runs. Don't know where he sits. I'm probably gonna have to say memorable.
Yeah.
But I really want to put him above that. I'm going to put him in memorable, but I want to put him above that.
It's fine.
Emerald Kabengele, again, the start of the year was the start of the year. We all...
If you have Emerald Kabengele and not Bill Laimbeer, I'm going to be annoyed.
...in a centre who could shoot, and he was that guy. It lasted 5 minutes, but he was very hyped for the time.
Bill Laimbeer was so much better.
Him. Everyone picked him up. Everyone ran him because he was...
Not the stick gods. The stick gods were running Bill Laimbeer because he was just better in every way.
3 tokens or whatever.
The stick... You had to play a game of domination to get him. Do you not remember how bad domination was at the start of the year? Beating it on Hoff? Man, the stick gods with Laimbeer.
He has to be on this list. I'm going to put him at memorable. Next up, we've got Invincible Yao. Guys, this is going to be super controversial. He's the best card in the game. General consensus.
He's the lowest tier. Hear me out. He's not as good as Invincible Yao last year. Or Goat Yao last year. We will remember Sim. We will remember Taco. We will remember Sean Bradley more than we remember this card. Trust me. There are 3 alternatives. 1 was free and 2 are cheap. Almost nobody used Yao. Get Yao in the bottom tier. He doesn't belong to 50.
But I'm putting him here. I'm going to put him here.
This is about I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. In terms of just how memorable the cards were, I do not agree with that. I think I'd have him. I would have Lonzo Ball over Yao Ming in terms of how memorable cards are. I'd have Yao literally at the single bottom of this list.
Here's the reason. I think Yao last year was game defining. I think
he was
just a duplicate of that card. I don't think it's...
But there's 4 different alternatives that are all budget options this year.
As game defining as it was last year. I think we've seen it before. I think with Ben, like I said, he has such an elite jump shot that I could move him up. But this Yao was... I mean, I know the meta's different. We were tweening last year. Now, everyone's speed bursting on current gen, and, he moves like a rocket on next gen. But I just don't think he is game defining. I don't think he is.
No, he's not.
I think he's the best card. I think that's fair.
That's fine to argue, but he's not game defining.
Like Taco, Simbula, all of these cards exist. I don't think he is as game defining as people have said. So yeah, he's coming there. Mo Bamba, another one of the the
bottom
OP rubies. I think he has to go next to his
Wendell's better.
Wendell's better. Very, very memorable there. Nick Anderson. There's a lot of cards.
Like, he was part of the Holy Trinity. This card will be remembered for being in the Holy Trinity. Nick Anderson will be more remembered, in my opinion, than Mo Bamba. Because Nick Anderson legit had spells in, like, people's competitive teams. I ran him 250.
I could have used here, Eric Gordon, Markel Fultz. I was trying to think of, like, the OP rubies back in the day. I think Nick Anderson was the best of them. It's one of these 2. I'm just going to put it in memorable now because I think he was in a class with a lot of other cards that you could put on that list.
He was so good. Nick Batum, for me, game defining. For most people, probably extremely memorable.
Next up, we got Pink Diamond Batum.
Memorable.
Again, a next-gen card. He was OP for the tier he was in. He was, a very...
He will be, in a year's time, we'll remember Nick Batum. We will not remember this Yao.
Very affordable, good-sized point guard with a decent shot. He was a good card. Again, I think he was hyped up by a handful of content creators. I don't know why the community, if he was as popular. Next up, we've got Pink Diamond Paul Pierce. Guys, he has to go in here.
Nobody got him, though. He was the best player in the game when he came out. Nobody got him. Like, I think I faced Paul Pierce 3 times ever. Like, I don't think anyone had him. Like, Allen Houston will be more memorable than Paul Pierce. Because everyone used Houston to get Paul Pierce. I'd flip those 2.
This is a controversial take. I know it is. He has to go in here. I might have to move him down depending on what we've got coming up. He's probably the least qualified to be in this tier, but right now he has to be. He's the only good unlimited reward we've had since Glenn Rice. This card was available on day 1, guys.
We did get Rudy Gay last year.
Day 1. He was the best card in the game until Steph Curry came out, and then arguably he was the second best card in the game.
Steph came out 2 weeks into the game.
The fact that he was actually available day 1, he also defined unlimited as a game mode. It was the first time people experienced it. He has to be. We all remember 250 and 0, from DBG. It was all this card. Defined stick shooting.
No, it was all this card. It was all this guy. and I just swapped him with a slightly better version of him and Paul Pierce.
An era of the game, and was by far the best card in the game for the first 4 or 5 weeks. How can we not put him in game defining? Next up, we've got Diamond Rudy. It's very similar
Legendary.
to Nick Seeley, I think. I think Rudy was used a little bit more, though. I do believe that. I'm going to put him in very memorable.
Legendary.
He's got a case to be up here. I think, like I said, cards like KPJ, John Stockton, I think these cards had a bit more longevity.
Basketball John should be in legendary.
It was a lot of fun, and he was, you know,
Houston should be a legendary, and Rudy
used
Fernandez
for
should be
a
in
period
legendary.
of time. Next up, we've got another card who's in here for the wrong reasons, which is Galaxy Opal Russell Westbrook. Guys, we spoke about this card on the...
I'm going to say is, I don't think he was... I think he sucks, but I don't think he was bad enough. Like, he wasn't like Baron Davis bad. And like, we had Ralph Sampson as a bad limited reward before him, so I would go... I think he's like memorable. I wouldn't put him that high. Because he wasn't... He was bad, but he wasn't that bad.
The podcast more than any other card. We literally couldn't believe how bad this card is. And, you know, similar to Baron Davis, he defined the game in a way that, you know, we expected something amazing and just got something hugely underwhelming, which was just
I mean,
a pattern the whole
6'3"
year.
point
Russell
guard, like,
Westbrook
he was
is
never...
really up there with defining
maybe
that
I
game
understand
mode.
that.
It's got to be one of these two, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to put him in very memorable for
I'm okay
now,
with
but
that.
again, for the wrong reasons.
I'm okay with that. Yeah,
tier is
he needs to
filled
be
now.
a lower.
Might have to
He needs to be
start
low.
moving some cards around.
I agree with that.
Next up, we've got Simbula.
Top.
Guys, he's going in game defining
Yeah.
because he is. He is, whether you realise it or not, the best budget card that's been released all year. This card right here was $1 million MT last week. This card was 20k.
Yeah, seems
And
better.
he can hang. This is a skill gap. This is a skill gap, guys, right here. Simbula is the best budget card that's been released all year. Without question, he has to be in game defining. He has to be. Amethyst Sleepy Floyd, what amazing memories, guys, I have with this
I love
card.
that card, but he's the bottom.
You know, I do miss it. I ran him in Unlimited recently, and he can still hang. He can still hang. We lost the game.
I love that
Probably his
card.
fault, but, you know, he was there. We know how fun this card was. Another card that kind of really defined badging up cards. He was one of the first cards we started to do that with.
I mean, he came out 3 days before John Stockton. I'd put him down at near the bottom.
Extremely memorable is where Sleepy needs to be. Next up, we've got Steph Curry.
Game defining.
Absolutely game defining. Defined
Mick
level
agrees.
40 for the whole year. I'm now very aware that one of these cards needs to move down. I'm not sure who it's going to be.
Pierce.
It might be Paul Pierce.
It's Pierce.
But yeah, Steph has to be a game defining for obvious reasons.
Pierce and D-Rock.
Taco as well.
Yeah, Pierce and
This is part
D-Rock.
of the reason Taco's in this. Again, like I said, Sim can kind of hang with Taco, but Taco was just really exciting. The time he came out, the spotlights were super exciting. People really wanted this
I had a
card. He was
mental
on level
breakdown
with the
doing
kind of
those
Danny
spotlights.
Ferries in terms of how designed
I
he
legitimately
was
had a
for
mental
cards.
breakdown.
He has to be game defining, and those spotlights were just the talk of the community for like a month, so he has to be there.
I had a
I'm gonna
legit
have to
mental
move
breakdown
someone
on
down,
stream.
guys. I think it's going to be Paul Pierce.
Pierce
I
is
was
not
really
belong.
tempted to move Bol down the
Yeah, I'm good with that as well.
Last year, but I'm
I'm
going to
actually
move
fine with
Paul
that.
Pierce down.
Pierce.
He is legendary. I think that's fair because this card has to go into game defining.
Yeah.
Big Diamond Terry
The dentist.
absolutely broke the game, broke all of us trying to get him.
Dentist.
I was very fortunate I got him in like 30 games. but some people
900
didn't.
games.
They kind of raced for 250 to get him.
900
I mean, was there a more
games.
spoken about card this year? Is there a more game defining card this year? In terms of how
900
hyped he was?
games.
No, I don't think there is. Now we've got Ruby Thaddeus Young. He has to go in the same tier as KPJ.
Yeah,
he just
I
has
agree.
to. They are the two limited
Is
beasts.
Yuda
Again,
is
all of us
Yuda
have
in
used these
this
cards
list?
countless times.
Is
if we've
Yuda
had
in this
them,
list?
If we've had them. So what an amazing investment both of those cards were. KPJ and Thaddeus Young. But that base 98 Ruby absolutely has to be an extremely memorable. Tony's a tough one. Tony is
I
a
bring
tough one.
Tony down to the
I
bottom.
think I'm going to put him... I think he can go into Legendary, or do I need to move someone up and put him in extremely memorable?
Move Houston up and move him down
I feel like
one.
I might have to. I will. I think I'll move Bill Russell up because...
Yeah, I'm good with that.
spotlights
Bill
were
Russell's a good
hyped.
player to move.
Tony goes into extremely memorable. He was
Yeah.
elite when he came out, guys. Absolutely elite. But I think we forgot about him very quickly. I don't think he's going to be remembered in the same way this Bill Russell will. So I think that's
good
fair.
choice. Good call.
Next
I
up,
like
we've
that.
got Pink Diamond, Wayne Embry. The first, amazing
Volker.
GT offline rewards. He was so OP for the time he came out, guys. It was silly. The first card that we really went crazy for trying to get, before the Terrys and the Dannys of the world.
I like Embry.
Wayne Embry absolutely has to go into Legendary. I've got Wilt on this list, guys. I'm going to put him in memorable, and the reason he's not higher than that is because the reason this card is on this list is that
He's
everyone that
terrible
locked in for
value.
him is trying to forget it. This was a bad card, guys. He was outdated within 2 weeks, and he was like a 1.5 million lock-in. The
problem was not many-
relevant, will be memorable.
The reason why he's not that memorable in a bad way, you can see he's here, is because very few people were dumb enough to lock in for him.
I always look back on Thon Maker last year as like a memorable card because that was the first card I looked in for, and I regretted it. Wilt is that Thon on steroids. I mean, it's bad. It is bad if you looked in for that card. He has to be on this list. And this has worked out perfectly because Diamond Zion absolutely is legendary.
He's legendary because he was so good on current gen and so bad on next gen at the same time.
That stayed in my main team for the longest this year without question.
He was simultaneously the best and one of the worst cards in the game.
Bias on current gen there. It really depends if you moved on to next gen early. If you did, the Zion maybe lost.
But he was legendary on next gen because of how bad he was.
A bit of his value. But on current gen, which most of the players have been on all year, that Diamond Zion was legendary. Right, guys, I'm really happy with that list. So anyway,
that's the video. Again, I do apologize for the fact that I'm pretty much out of it right now. I wonder what video might be interesting for you guys to make, or for me to make for you guys to watch. I'm wondering if I can think of any videos that me being completely out of it might be funny to watch. Because I still have another 2 hours to kill before I have to go and watch LiAngelo Ball, and my God, I'm going to be out of it during my B-Ball Daily video later tonight. So, again, huge shout out to Jazz. Other than... I think this was a great video. It's a type of tier list that I have not thought of myself, honestly. And it's the type of video that helps reminisce on the year, which is something that I really, really enjoy doing. I enjoy watching it. And I enjoy making these type of videos as well and giving my input on this. Again, I do apologize if at any stage during the video it looked like I was not giving it 100%, because you better believe I'm giving it 150%. I'm just dying. So anyway, yeah, that's the video. Shout out to Jazz. Go subscribe to him. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.